Every great success story begins not with luck, not with talent, but with a system. You see, goals alone are not enough. Anyone can set a goal. Millions of people do it every New Year's Eve. They make promises to themselves about getting fit, making more money, starting a business, or improving their relationships. But a few weeks later, those goals fade away, and they're back to where they started. Why? Because goals without systems are like cars without engines. They might look good, but they don't move you anywhere. The truth is, achievement is never an accident. It's a result of structure, consistency, and systems that make success inevitable. A system is simply a repeatable process, a way of doing things that works whether you feel motivated or not. Motivation gets you started, but systems keep you going. The difference between those who achieve and those who only dream is not willpower, it's structure. The high achievers of the world have learned to take their goals and translate them into daily systems that lead to progress automatically. If your goal is to get fit, the system is your workout schedule, your meal plan, your sleep routine. If your goal is to build a business, the system is your daily marketing, your customer follow-up, your review of financial metrics. If your goal is personal growth, the system is your reading habit, your journaling, your commitment to reflection. In every area of life, what gets repeated becomes who you are. Systems are habits multiplied by consistency. Think of your life as a machine. Each part, your mindset, your routines, your environment, either works for you or against you. Every system you design should make the right behavior easy and the wrong behavior hard. If you want to wake up early, don't rely on motivation. Build a system, go to bed at a consistent time, put your alarm across the room, and set your clothes out the night before. Systems remove decision fatigue. Until you don't have to think about doing the right thing. You've already made it automatic. Tracy often said, successful people are simply those with successful habits. And habits are born from systems. When you rely on motivation, you'll act only when you feel like it. But when you rely on systems, you act because it's built into your life. Success becomes predictable, not accidental. It's like flying a plane. The pilot doesn't wing it every time. He follows a checklist. The checklist ensures safety, precision, and results. Your goals deserve the same structure. Here's the secret most people miss. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. You can dream as big as you want, but unless you build a system that supports that dream, it will stay in your imagination. Systems create momentum. Once they're in place, they start working even when you're tired, even when you're busy, even when you're discouraged. A good system doesn't depend on how you feel. It just runs. Start small. Build systems that are easy to maintain and hard to break. If your goal is to write a book, set a system of writing 500 words every morning before checking your phone. If your goal is to earn more money, create a system of reaching out to 5 potential clients every day. If your goal is to be more confident, set a system of speaking up once in every meeting. The power of small systems is that they compound over time. Small wins turn into big victories. Discipline is doing what you must do, even when you don't feel like it. But systems make discipline easier. They create guardrails that keep you on track. Over time, what once felt difficult becomes automatic. You look back and realize you're not just achieving your goals. You've become the kind of person who naturally achieves goals. So stop chasing outcomes and start building systems. Don't focus on losing 20 pounds. Focus on building the system of healthy eating and daily movement. Don't focus on making $1 million. Focus on building the system of value creation and consistent action. Don't focus on being the best. Focus on the systems that make you better every day. Remember this, successful people don't wait for motivation. They build systems that produce it. Your future is shaped by what you do consistently, not occasionally. When your systems align with your goals, success becomes automatic. The road to greatness isn't paved with wishful thinking. It's built brick by brick, system by system, habit by habit. A goal gives you a sense of direction, a picture of what you want your future to look like. But a system gives you the engine that drives you toward that future. Most people make the mistake of believing that setting a goal is enough. That somehow, once they write it down or say it out loud, life will begin rearranging itself to make it happen. But the truth is, goals alone have no power. They are simply destinations without a map, ideas without execution. What separates achievers from dreamers isn't the size of their goals. It's the strength of their systems. Imagine two people who both want to get in shape. One sets a goal. I will lose 20 pounds. The other builds a system. I will go to the gym every morning at 7 a.m., prepare healthy meals every Sunday, and track my calories daily. A month later, the difference is clear. The first person is still talking about what they want, while the second is already living it. The difference is not motivation, it's systems. Goals give you the target, but systems give you the path. Systems create order out of chaos. They turn vague intentions into specific, actionable routines. When you rely on willpower alone, you'll struggle. Willpower is like a muscle. It tires easily. That's why most people start strong and fade away. But when you build a system, you remove willpower from the equation. You create a process that keeps you consistent even when you're tired, distracted, or unmotivated. Systems transform sporadic effort into predictable progress. Every successful person you admire, whether it's an athlete, entrepreneur, or artist, has one thing in common. They rely on systems, not just goals. A professional athlete doesn't just hope to win. They have a training system that keeps them improving every day. A best-selling author doesn't just dream of writing. They have a writing routine that ensures they produce work consistently. A successful business owner doesn't just wish for growth. They've built operational systems that make growth inevitable. When you create systems, you shift your focus from results to process. Instead of obsessing over the finish line, you master the daily habits that get you there. You stop asking, how far do I have to go? And start asking, what can I do today to move forward? That subtle shift in mindset changes everything. The moment you focus on systems, progress becomes automatic because you're no longer chasing outcomes. You're following a process that guarantees improvement. The most powerful systems are simple. Complexity kills consistency. Start with one small habit that moves you closer to your goal. If you want to grow financially, set up a system of saving 10% of every paycheck before spending a single dollar. If you want to learn faster, set a system of reading 10 pages every morning. If you want better relationships, create a system of checking in with the people you care about once a week. Small, repeatable actions compound into massive results over time. The magic of systems lies in their predictability. You don't have to wonder if you'll succeed. If your system works and you stay consistent, success is inevitable. That's why pilots rely on checklists, surgeons rely on procedures, and top performers rely on routines. Systems eliminate guesswork. They turn uncertainty into reliability. When you build a system around your goal, you're not relying on hope anymore. You're building structure, rhythm, and momentum. You're telling your subconscious mind, this is who I am now. This is what I do. And once your system becomes part of your identity, it stops feeling like effort. You no longer have to push yourself to do it. It becomes who you are. Most people overestimate what they can achieve in a day and underestimate what they can achieve in a year with a good system. It's not the intensity that changes your life. It's the consistency. Every great achievement is simply a system that worked long enough to produce results. Goals inspire you, systems transform you. And when you understand that difference, you'll stop chasing success. You'll start engineering it. Motivation is a powerful force, but it's unreliable. It comes and goes like the wind. Strong one day, gone the next. You can't build a lasting success story on a feeling that fades. This is where systems step in. Systems transform fleeting bursts of motivation into steady, unstoppable momentum. They turn action into habit and habit into achievement. While motivation might light the fire, systems keep it burning long after the spark has disappeared. Think about the last time you felt inspired to change your life. Maybe you watched a powerful video, read an inspiring quote, or attended a seminar. You felt unstoppable for a day or two. You planned everything, the new diet, the business idea, the early morning routine. But then life happened. The excitement faded, the challenges appeared, and suddenly you were right back where you started. That's the problem with motivation. It depends on how you feel. Systems, on the other hand, depend on what you do. A system doesn't care whether you're motivated or not. It simply asks for consistency. It's a process designed to move you forward no matter what's happening around you. When you rely on motivation, you'll take action only when you feel like it. When you rely on systems, you'll take action because it's built into your day. You don't have to think, you just follow the process. That's how winners operate. They've learned to make progress automatic. Imagine a person training for a marathon. At first, they're fired up. They run with energy, imagining the finish line and the cheering crowd. But soon, that excitement wears off. Their legs hurt, the weather gets cold, and staying in bed feels much more comfortable. If that person is running on motivation alone, they'll quit. But if they built a system, a training plan, a schedule, and a routine, they'll keep going. Because their system tells them exactly what to do each day. Progress becomes inevitable. Systems give structure to your dreams. They take the emotion out of achievement and replace it with strategy. You no longer wake up wondering what to do. You already know. And that clarity removes resistance. Every time you follow your system, you strengthen the habit, and every habit you build strengthens your identity as someone who follows through. Over time, it's not about forcing yourself to stay motivated. It's about becoming the kind of person who simply gets things done. Momentum is built on repetition, not inspiration. The first few times you act, it might feel difficult. But once your system becomes part of your routine, it starts to carry you forward. You no longer have to push. Your system pulls you. That's how top performers maintain consistency. They don't rely on motion. They rely on design. Their days are structured in a way that makes success the default outcome. Motivation is like the fuel in a car. It gets you started. But systems are like the engine. They keep you moving. Even when your motivation runs low, the system keeps you on track. This is why elite athletes, successful entrepreneurs, and great leaders all rely on systems. They know that consistency beats intensity every time. You don't need to be highly motivated, you just need to keep showing up. The secret is to make your system simple enough to follow even on your worst days. If your system depends on high energy and perfect conditions, it will fail. But if your system is built on small, repeatable steps, it will carry you through anything. 10 minutes of progress is always better than 0. 1 page read, 1 phone call made, 1 small step forward. That's how momentum grows. The more you follow your system, the more progress you see. The more progress you see, the more motivated you become. That's the magic loop of success. Systems create results, and results create motivation. Instead of waiting for inspiration, you create it through consistent action. Over time, what began as a system becomes your lifestyle, and what began as effort becomes natural. When you rely on motivation, you move when you feel good. When you rely on systems, you move whether you feel good or not. And that's the difference between temporary effort and lasting success. Systems transform emotion into execution and dreams into reality. Once you build a system that supports your goals, you'll never again have to wait for motivation, because you'll already be moving. No matter how ambitious your dreams are, you will only perform as well as your systems allow. You can have the biggest vision, the strongest desire, and the clearest goal in the world. But if your daily actions don't align with it, you'll never get there. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. The truth is, every outcome you experience in life is the direct result of the systems you've built, consciously or unconsciously. If you have systems that support growth, you'll rise. If your systems support procrastination, distraction, or inconsistency, you'll stay stuck, no matter how much you want to change. People often mistake big dreams for big progress. They believe that if they just want it enough, they'll find a way. But wanting isn't enough. The world is full of people who want to be successful, fit, wealthy, or happy. The difference between those who achieve and those who don't lies in the systems they build to support those goals. A goal gives you a vision. A system gives you the structure to reach it. Without structure, the vision collapses under the weight of inconsistency. Imagine a pilot who sets a goal to reach a destination but doesn't follow a flight plan. It doesn't matter how determined he is, without the system of navigation, routine checks, and flight procedures, he won't make it. Life works the same way. Systems are your flight plan. They guide you when motivation fades, when distractions appear, and when circumstances change. They are what keep you aligned with your destination, even when you can't see it clearly. Most people rise temporarily when they're motivated but fall back into old patterns because their systems haven't changed. Success isn't a burst of energy. It's a consistent rhythm of small, effective action. You don't need to change your goal. You need to change your system. If your system is designed for average results, it doesn't matter how much you dream about greatness. You'll still perform at an average level. But if your system is designed for excellence, you'll move toward excellence naturally. Think about a student who wants to get top grades. The goal is to be the best in the class. But the system is what determines the outcome. Setting specific study hours, reviewing notes daily, and practicing past exams consistently. Another student may want the same goal, but has no system. They study only when they feel like it. Over time, the one with a system wins, not because they're smarter, but because they're structured. Systems protect you from your weaknesses. They create guardrails that keep you moving forward even when your energy or focus dips. You don't have to rely on willpower when your environment and habits are designed to support success. If your goal is to eat healthy, your system might be meal prepping every Sunday. If your goal is to write a book, your system might be writing 500 words every morning. When the system is right, results become inevitable. The beauty of systems is that they make success repeatable. A goal can be achieved once, but a system keeps delivering results again and again. That's why the most successful people in the world don't just hit goals. They build machines around their goal. They know that systems don't just produce outcomes, they produce habits, and habits create identity. Once success becomes part of your identity, it stops being an achievement and becomes your normal. You can dream as high as you want, but if your daily system doesn't support that dream, you're building a castle on sand. Every habit you have right now is either serving your goal or sabotaging it. So instead of asking, "What do I want to achieve?" ask, "What system do I need to build to achieve it?" Because no one becomes successful by accident. They become successful because they designed a life that makes success unavoidable. When your systems are aligned with your goals, you don't have to fight for progress. Progress happens naturally. You won't need constant motivation or endless self-discipline. Your systems will do the heavy lifting. You'll fall to their level when things get tough, but if those systems are strong enough, that's exactly where you'll find your success. Big achievements often start from small beginnings. The truth is, you don't need massive action to create massive results. You need small, consistent steps that compound over time. Most people set huge goals and expect instant transformation. They want to go from zero to success overnight. But success doesn't happen in leaps. It happens in layers. The key to building lasting systems that actually work is to start small, stay consistent, and scale up gradually. Every great performer, entrepreneur, or leader began with small, repeatable actions. They built simple systems first and expanded them as they grew. It's not the size of the action that matters, it's the consistency behind it. If you commit to one small system and follow it faithfully, it will eventually grow into something powerful. But if you start too big too soon, you'll burn out before the system has time to take root. Imagine planting a tree. You don't dig it up every few days to see if it's growing. You water it, nurture it, and trust the process. The same principle applies to your systems. Small actions may seem insignificant at first. Reading 10 pages, saving a few dollars, exercising for 15 minutes, but these small habits compound. They create momentum. Over time, that momentum becomes unstoppable. The reason most people fail to achieve their goals is because they try to do too much too fast. They change everything at once: new routines, new habits, new priorities. And when life inevitably gets busy, they collapse under the pressure. High achievers do the opposite. They start small. They master one discipline at a time, then stack new systems on top of it. Each new habit reinforces the last one, and soon success becomes second nature. Let's say your goal is to build a successful business. You don't need to have a perfect business plan or dozens of clients right away. Start with a system of reaching out to 3 potential customers every day. Do it consistently. That small daily action will teach you more about your market, sharpen your skills, and create momentum. As the results grow, your confidence grows, and with it, your capacity to handle bigger systems. The same applies to personal growth. If you want to become more disciplined, don't overhaul your entire life overnight. Start with one area, waking up 10 minutes earlier or journaling for 5 minutes before bed. Once that becomes automatic, add the next habit. The magic of this approach lies in momentum. Success is not about doing everything right. It's about doing something right, consistently. Systems that start small are easier to stick with. They don't overwhelm you. They empower you. When a system feels simple and achievable, you're more likely to follow through. And every time you follow through, you build trust in yourself. That trust is the foundation of self-discipline. Once you trust yourself to keep small promises, you'll be ready to keep bigger ones. Tracy often said that small improvements practiced consistently lead to extraordinary results. A 1% improvement each day may not feel significant, but after a year, it compounds into real transformation. The same principle applies to systems. One small, well-designed system executed every day can outperform 100 ambitious goals that are never acted upon. Starting small doesn't mean thinking small. It means being strategic. You're building momentum, the force that turns effort into progress. Each small action strengthens your foundation, preparing you for the weight of greater success. The person who masters the small steps today becomes unstoppable tomorrow. So don't wait for the perfect time or the perfect plan. Begin with what you can manage today. Build the system that fits your current capacity, and as you grow, your system will grow with you. The path to big results is not made of giant leaps. It's made of small steps repeated consistently. Small. Stay patient and keep building. The compound effect of your consistency will eventually make success unavoidable. The difference between success and stagnation often comes down to one thing: how well you design your environment. If you want to achieve your goals, you must make the right actions easy and the wrong actions hard. Most people try to rely on willpower, but willpower is a limited resource. It fades with fatigue, stress, and distraction. You can't depend on it every day. Systems that work long-term are built on smart design, on structuring your environment so that good habits happen automatically and bad ones become inconvenient. Human behavior is shaped more by environment than by intention. You can have the strongest goals and the best intentions, but if your environment constantly pulls you in the wrong direction, you'll struggle. For example, if you're trying to eat healthier, but your kitchen is full of junk food, you're fighting an uphill battle every time you walk into that room. But if you fill your fridge with fruits, vegetables, and clean meals, Suddenly making the right choice becomes effortless. You didn't change your willpower, you changed your system. The best way to change behavior is not to force yourself to be disciplined, but to design your surroundings in a way that supports discipline naturally. If you want to wake up early, put your alarm across the room so you have to get up to turn it off. If you want to read more, keep a book on your pillow so you see it before bed. If you want to work out consistently, pack your gym clothes the night before and put them by the door. These small environmental cues act as reminders that guide your behavior without effort. Every successful person builds their systems with one principle in mind: make success easy to do and failure hard to repeat. They understand that you don't rise to your intentions, you fall to your environment. Think about it. Why are top athletes so consistent? It's not just motivation. It's because their entire environment is built for performance. Their coaches, teammates, routines, and even their schedules are designed to support excellence. The structure makes excellence inevitable. The same principle applies to every area of life. If you want to be productive, eliminate distractions from your workspace. Turn off notifications, close unnecessary tabs, and keep only the tools you need in front of you. When your environment is clean, your focus sharpens. If you want to save money, set up automatic transfers to your savings account so you never have to decide whether to save. It just happens. Systems that automate positive behavior remove the need for daily decision-making, which is where most people fail. Your brain craves simplicity. Every decision you make throughout the day drains mental energy. The more friction there is between you and your desired behavior, the less likely you are to follow through. That's why designing systems that reduce friction is so powerful. Want to exercise more? Choose a gym that's close to your home or workplace. Want to study regularly? Keep your study materials visible and ready. When you lower the resistance to action, you increase the probability of consistency. The opposite is also true. If you want to stop a bad habit, make it hard to do. If you waste too much time on your phone, delete social media apps, or keep your phone in another room while working. If you overspend, remove your credit card details from online stores. Systems work both ways. They can promote good habits or discourage bad ones. The key is to design them consciously instead of letting them form by accident. The most successful people don't have superhuman willpower. They have environments that make doing the right thing automatic. They understand that discipline is not about being stronger than others, it's about being smarter with how you structure your life. When your environment aligns with your goals, you no longer have to fight yourself to make progress. Success becomes natural. Every action you take either moves you closer to your goals or further away from them. By designing systems that make the right actions easier and the wrong ones harder, you create a lifestyle that supports success without struggle. You no longer have to push yourself to stay on track. The structure keeps you there. And once you've mastered this art, you'll realize that success is not about working harder. It's about setting up your life so that the right choices happen effortlessly. Life is full of distractions, challenges, and unpredictable moments. There will always be days when you feel tired, unmotivated, or uncertain. The secret to lasting success is not to avoid those moments, but to build systems strong enough to carry you through them. Motivation fades, circumstances change, but systems stay steady. They are your anchor when everything else feels unstable. Systems that outlast motivation and circumstance are the true foundation of achievement. They keep you moving forward when the excitement is gone and when life tests your commitment. Everyone feels inspired in the beginning. The start of a journey always feels exciting. You set new goals, visualize success, and feel unstoppable. But after a while, the initial enthusiasm wears off. The routine starts to feel repetitive. Obstacles appear. Life gets busy. This is where most people give up. They think they've lost motivation, but what they've really lost is structure. Without a solid system, even the strongest goals collapse under the weight of inconsistency. A good system doesn't rely on how you feel. It simply works. It's a routine, a process, a pattern of behavior that happens whether you're inspired or not. It's what keeps you showing up even on days when progress feels invisible. Think of world-class athletes. They don't skip practice because they're tired or distracted. They train because their system demands it. They know that showing up consistently, especially on days when it's hardest, is what separates champions from everyone else. The beauty of a strong system is that it builds resilience. When life throws you off balance, your system helps you regain your rhythm. If your system is to wake up early, review your goals, and take one meaningful action each morning, it doesn't matter how chaotic your day becomes. That first hour keeps you grounded. If your system is to save a fixed percentage of your income every month, you'll keep building wealth even when the economy slows down. Systems protect your long-term vision from short-term emotions. Motivation is emotional. Systems are practical. Emotion can inspire you to start, but practicality keeps you consistent. The best performers in any field don't depend on bursts of inspiration. They depend on routines that make progress automatic. They know that discipline is simply consistency in the face of changing emotions. Systems transform discipline into habit, and habit into identity. Once something becomes part of who you are, it stops requiring effort. Circumstances will never be perfect. There will always be obstacles, delays, distractions, disappointments. If your success depends on external factors, you'll always struggle. But if your success depends on your systems, you stay in control. Systems give you power in uncertain situations because they are predictable, measurable, and repeatable. You can't control weather, the economy, or other people, but you can always control your process. The greatest advantage of a strong system is that it keeps you improving even when progress feels slow. Some days your effort will feel invisible, but that's when your system matters most. Because while others stop, you keep going. And consistency always wins over intensity. The person who stays committed through ordinary days will always outperform the one who only acts when inspired. Success is not built on emotion, it's built on structure. When you build systems that work regardless of mood or circumstance, you become unstoppable. You don't waste energy deciding whether to act, you simply follow your process. Over time, this reliability compounds into greatness. You'll begin to notice that while others are starting and stopping, you're always moving forward, slowly, steadily, surely. Systems give you freedom. They free you from overthinking, from inconsistency, and from emotional burnout. They create stability in a world full of chaos. When you have systems that outlast motivation and circumstance, success is no longer a question of if. It's only a question of when. Because as long as you keep showing up, your systems will keep working, and progress will always find its way to you. Success is never a matter of chance, it's a matter of design. You don't achieve greatness by hoping, wishing, or waiting for motivation to strike. You achieve it by building systems that make success inevitable. Every goal you set, every dream you chase, depends on the structures you create to support it. Systems turn vision into reality, discipline into habit, and effort into momentum. When you rely on systems, you no longer depend on inspiration, you depend on process. The truth is simple. Motivation gets you started, but systems keep you going. Anyone can set a goal, but few commit to the daily actions that make that goal come alive. Systems protect you from inconsistency, emotion, and circumstance that allow. They make progress predictable, measurable, and automatic. Once you have the right systems in place, your success becomes a natural outcome, not a random event. So stop asking, how can I stay motivated? And start asking, what system can I build to make success unavoidable? Because in the end, the person who builds the best systems wins. Your systems define your habits define your actions, and your actions define your destiny.